All right, moving on to a couple things I want to touch on for this week. We actually touched on the Lures forfeit, so I'll scratch that off the list. But Northside at Snyder, that's the big game this week in the area. Right. This could be a big stepping stone for Ryan Hall and the Redskins. How do you see this one playing out?
Well, it is. It's another measuring stick for Ryan Hall and his program. You know, the Dwenger was a real home run for him, but you know, they need to build on that. And they're coming off a loss, and if they lose to Mishawaka, then they lose to Snyder, then they have Lures. Pretty soon, that's 3 in a row, and maybe their confidence is a bit shaken. I think Northside will win this game, and I base that on they have a really balanced running attack. They have a bunch of different guys that can run the ball effectively, so you never know who to key on. And another thing that I've seen in Snyder this year, every time they've played a really good team, they haven't stopped them. They haven't played well. And I know Coach Tippmann's getting very, very frustrated against some of those top-level teams, and they're facing another top-level team this week. So I think the balanced running game of Northside will be a key. If they can get some passing attack, that would be helpful. But I think Snyder's going to struggle to stop them defensively.
I will disagree with you because I believe Snyder is going to be the team that's going to pull this one out. You know, everyone likes to characterize Northside as a defense-first team. Ryan Hall is a former defensive coordinator. That's what they were great at last year, and they've continued to be good at it. But they gave up 45 in the Mishawaka game. Right. They gave up 21 in Week 2 to Huntington North, and some of those came late. I've got a few concerns about it because I think the most talented player on the field offensively is going to be John Nelson. This is a guy that put up over 200 yards last week. He's a touchdown machine. I think he's the most talented offensive player in that game, and I like my odds. I like the size of Snyder's line offensively and defensively, but especially offensively. I think John Nelson's going to have a big game and really determine a lot about how this game is going to go. And if they actually do end up stopping him, then it's going to be on Mr. Phelps.
Well, yes, if they can get a passing attack, that would help Snyder immensely. I do think it's going to be a very, very close game. This is one of the rare SAC games that we can actually look forward to as being a very competitive game. So I'm excited about going out there and seeing this game. But, you know, I haven't seen Snyder take advantage of their size. They look really, really good in pregame warm-ups and on the program, but I have not seen that offensive and defensive line really utilize their size like they should yet. Maybe this week is the week that they get it done.
Agree to disagree.
All right.
Any other things that you're looking for here in Week 6? Because you're really not that many weeks away from the postseason, which it seems like this year just flies by.
Well, it is interesting to see teams as they've matured. I mean, who was good in Week 1 and who's good in Week 5, totally opposite, and who's going to be good in Week 8 and 9 is going to be different. So it's funny to see, or it's interesting, I should say, to see these different teams grow and the storylines kind of change as we move on. How will Dwenger rebound and bounce back from a really just a beat down by Cathedral the other night? And some of these other teams, can they keep the momentum going like Carroll with all their wins? And so, but you know, the Columbia City-New Haven game is going to be a really competitive game. Can Columbia City stop Devon Hurst? Can New Haven stop the passing attack and the balanced offense and defense of Columbia City? So there are some good games out there. Leo Heritage is another one. Leo didn't play particularly well last week at South Adams. The score indicated that they played really well, but they had a lot of penalties. They were very undisciplined. And Heritage, I think, is one of the more unsung programs in the area this year. They're better than their record indicates. So, you know, if Heritage plays them tough, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, Leo broke a couple long plays last week with a Gage Corner, a 69-yarder and a 49-yarder. That may not happen against Heritage. Who knows?
Right.
And then they might be in some trouble. Well, he's Tom Davis. I'm Glenn Marini. We've probably gone past the time that we should, but the World Wide Web is a beautiful thing because you can put everything up there, and it can last forever.
Lots of time to argue.
There is. All right. Thanks very much, Tom. I'm Glenn. We'll see you next week.